Hi, guys. So we had some interesting conversation with a couple of teenagers. We're in the throes of summer over here. I'm in New York City. Shiza is in Connecticut. Amelia is in Massachusetts. Lorin is in LA. And we're just bathing in the sunlight. It's been fabulous. So we're back and we want to know, we really want to get inside the heads of teenagers and see what their struggles are. Because their world is so much more different than our world was growing up. So do you want to start, Shiza? You want to jump right into a question?
Sure, yeah. So our first question starts off with the issue of relaxation itself. A lot of people tend to have a tough time with relaxing or just sitting still, and they just generally feel restless. Or, some people have like ADD or ADHD, which can also like not help at all with that kind of stuff. So what's a way that like meditation can help you get into the zone first, kind of?
Well, one thing that helps is don't diagnose yourself. We've all been trained now to think that that there's something wrong with being restless. Whereas depending on what age you are and what your situation, you want restlessness. Now, people that don't want restlessness are monks and nuns who are supposed to just sit in their little cell or just do their prayers all day. If you're like under 50, you actually want to celebrate every impulse of restlessness and actually welcome it and even dance with it. So dancing is an important ally to meditation. Also journaling. So train yourself to think of meditation as setting yourself free rather than more suppression. Because just going to school and if you work, there's so much time when you're in as if prison, as if you're constrained, like you have to stay there longer than you want to and resist the impulses, resist restlessness. You have to kind of harness yourself to the job. So you don't want meditation to be what's called more of the same. It's one of the logical fallacies. Well, what I need is more of the same. So with meditation, let meditation be about what you're interested in. What
Is there something that you guys are interested in a lot these days that's got your attention that you could lose yourself in, both of you?
Well, I definitely like drawing quite a bit, and so I'd like to think there's a form of meditation in sort of doing that.
dancing or movement or gesture, sound and vision, these are three great ways inward to meditation. And within each, there's thousands of different techniques. So yeah, drawing something beautiful, you could then say, okay, I'm inside this circle of beauty and move it and then rest in it so that you feel protected inside. You've said, I'm inside of my own magic world. And it goes with me. So even when I walk down the street, I'm in my zone. I'm in my bubble.
So is there a specific way that, like, if we're talking about drawing, how drawing can be used for meditation? Because, like, at least the out of the two things that you just showed us, it was very, like, geometric looking and, like, or, like, can it just kind of be whatever you want to draw?
It can be whatever you want to draw. This is Jung's Red Book. So he probably did this over many years. He actually had a big book and this is a replication of what he drew and wrote by hand, in ink. You can see he had good handwriting. So these are the drawings that he just felt like doing. Like his inner life just said, draw me. So that's a meditative drawing. So you want to enrich your approach to meditation. You could draw and then meditate and just be with the images and let them change. You could dance and then be with the feeling. You could listen to music, dancing or not dancing, and then drift into that. You could, I'm just drinking water, but you could smell tea or coffee or anything fragrant and do breathing meditations. or piece of a plant or a flower, you could just inhale a scent and then be grateful for breath.
Lauren, this is so good even for adults because I have a tendency, I like to write when I meditate. Sometimes I'll draw, sometimes I'll dance, but you're actually opening up a door for an interdisciplinary meditation. You could start with writing, but you may want to draw what you've written and you may want to dance inside it. I feel like that's so rich.
Use all your senses every day. So you want to touch, vision, and not just focus. What we think of meditation as I'm just going to be on this point. It's expansive vision where because your visual, inhabit your whole visual field. Like put your arms out like this and notice, like let's all do this right now. Just notice that you can see your hands when they're way back near your shoulders. There's a certain point where you can see them. So that's your wide field. So think of meditation as being in the wide field of seeing and hearing and feeling. And then there'll be times during meditation when you zoom in, but let meditation be the whole range of motion between the wide open perception and then zooming in on one spot. It's a mistake to think of meditation as zooming in on one spot. You want the full range of motion. So then with your hearing, when you approach meditation, you could just start with listening to the world, all the little sounds, and just appreciate how wonderful that the world is there. And for 20 minutes, I can just let the world turn by itself. There's no need to block out anything. There's no need. Everyone seems to think that you're supposed to concentrate and that noise, outer noise is a problem and inner noise is a problem. Whereas in reality, if you look at people in coffee shops, airports, wherever, people can be completely absorbed in a conversation or book and completely forget that there's 1,000 people running by on the sidewalk. That's not hard. So all you have to do is transfer that same ability that you already have, transfer that over into your meditation time. And noise is not a problem, and me having a million thoughts is not a problem. It's quite radical and rebellious to say that meditation is not about being good, sitting there being good. This is your time to feel all of your energies, all of your wild energies, and get to know them. It's safe during meditation to be as if you're at a wild party or an EDM, or you're dancing for 6 or 7 hours, or you're on a party island in Spain, or you're just letting your energies run wild because you're just being there. And then maybe you'll draw it or write in your journal. It's safe to let these energies flow, because then afterwards you can have much more of a peaceful groove. What we want is passion and peacefulness.
Isn't this a real challenge for teenagers? Because especially teenagers, because they're living in a world, they're constantly influenced by other kids, and there's the whole concept of what's cool and what's not cool, and if you're not a certain way, and maybe you both can jump in also to answer.
Peer pressure is absolutely incredible, and it's supposed to be that way. I mean, teenagers are built to want to be together and to be the world of the future. So peer pressure is incredible, and it's heartbreaking if you don't want to do what everybody else is doing.
I wanna hear from the young ones also. I want to hear from you guys. How do you manage, combat, or handle that? I mean, you heard Lorin speak the last time, and I know, Shiza, you've been meditating here and there, dabbling in it for a bit. But how do you feel when that sort of a situation arises and there's a certain pressure to be a certain way or behave or dress a certain way or whatever?
Well, I definitely think in terms of like, I don't know, I don't want to speak for Shiza, but I feel like we've surrounded ourselves with people that wouldn't pressure us in those ways. And we have faced challenging sort of social situations. But I think in that we have also learned to navigate those challenging situations and learn to avoid things that might cause us harm further down the road. And I don't think that's a very common situation for teenagers. I think we ran into some obstacles early on that really have shaped us into, that were really hard in the moment, but have led us to a more trusting and safe environment socially. People have presented opportunities to me where I could have made a bad decision, and I said no. And definitely I don't know, they didn't stop being my friend. They definitely thought a little less of me. But I I kind of think if they truly want to be around me and be my friend, they will accept the fact that I don't think that's a great decision to,
Uh-huh. Yes.
smoke weed or any of that.
Let's make up like the sketch of an approach to meditation based on the way these are talking. Whenever you want to give yourself time, like I'm going to be with myself, with my inner feelings. So the first approach might be to have your journal or somewhere and just go, okay, what's bothering me? What am I tense about? And what do I feel pressured about? And just write a couple of sentences. This is what, and these are the things that are like on my mind or like on my heart or on my shoulders. Because often things that we're worried about, there's a physical sensation. Then, after you've written a little bit, then feel your body, like where in my body am I holding tension? Okay. And then it's welcome that tension. Because it's just your body trying to help out with what your mind has decided is an emergency or scary. Then select something soothing. Pick from the whole world of meditation techniques, something that you like. Like, for example, you can just breathe out. And then during meditation, you welcome the interplay of what you're worried about and what's soothing, and you let them rotate. So that would be an approach that you could explore, play with. So you could draw a little bit, write a little bit, move a little bit, and then rest a bit.
And what Lorin is teaching is actually how you can direct your brain to get out of that anxious space into slowly guiding your brain, your neurons to start firing in a way that, you create the images of something that in your mind that brings you a lot of peace, that makes you happy, a memory that you really rejoice in. It just starts to reinform the brain and you end up being in a completely different state of mind as a result.
I also think that something that's really helpful is just like feeling like you're in control of something, which I mean, again, I don't have much experience with, but I feel like that's a reason that a lot of people turn to substances is because they can kind of control their emotions more with that kind of thing.
Yes, and they do. That whatever the substances are that are popular, they're shown to work, at least temporarily. So what you can do in meditation by training yourself to welcome whatever you're afraid of, whatever you feel pressure about, and then let that interact with some relaxation, you're training yourself in advance so that when you're an adult, you'll be much less likely to develop problems with substances. You want meditation actually to feel like journaling, like I'm just being with my own thoughts and feelings. And then there's so many wonderful techniques in all different traditions of meditation. Essentially, meditation is savoring the joy of being alive. And it can be like, I love music. The whole world of mantras, the mantra meditation, is just like, I love listening to the music. I can just sit and ask my inner music to play and just love listening to it. With these visual meditations, it's just like, I love the patterns of nature. And so we're rejoicing in the beauty and the harmony of creation. So meditation, to repeat, it's where you give yourself access to something that you love, of the beauty of creation, the beauty of being in a human body. And you let whatever you're worried about mix up with that. And so that each time a worried thought or a feeling of some pressure that you're under comes through your body, mind, and heart when you're meditating, some of that excess tension gets filtered away, and the fear turns back into excitement to live. And it's remarkable how just a few minutes of meditation can improve things. It's really, think of meditation as taking good care of yourself.
Self-love, as Shiza, you were saying earlier, this practice will just reinforce that even more.
Like, and there's lots of things that border on meditation. It's like, how do we care for our body mind system so that it functions well? You experiment and find what works for you, and then you look for how it actually is improving your functioning in daily life. So you want meditation to let you function better at work, whatever your work is, studying and taking tests and writing, giving public presentations. At playing, is you want your meditation to support you when your work is done, to shift into just playing, being happy, loving the people that you love, and then sleeping. You want meditation to significantly benefit you in all those areas: working, playing, loving, and resting. And because each one, there's a transition. That's what meditation is for. And so that's why it's worthwhile when you find a technique that works for you. That's why it's worthwhile to spend 15 or 20 minutes meditating, because it gives you back that much time. That's how you do it. That you can have your own invisible force field. When you create a sphere around you, a lot of people are clairvoyant and will sense it. They'll sense that you have a presence and you're to be respected. It's like an invisible velvet rope around yourself.
Yeah, I know. And I know the kids have an experience with that, because sometimes you're sitting in class and you don't want the teacher to point you out and ask you a question. You just like hide behind an invisible cloak and hope she wouldn't notice. It's that same psychology.
So having sovereignty over your own body and over your own energy field is so much fun.
So important and so much fun. And that's going to be our next episode, on boundaries and then on sovereignty. This was so great, guys. I just love that you chime in.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tanya.
Bye.